Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet Chesko.
It's Wednesday, August 26th, 2026. Welcome to Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Curran's Irish Rover in Langhorne, PA, Cavs Philly Tailgates, and the STT Sports Network. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chet Chesko. And Chet, the Phils ran off 9 straight wins before heading west to Seattle and Anaheim. They salvaged the series today with a nice shutout win. They needed that after losing 2 in a row. The Eagles are 1 preseason game from kicking off, and we have no idea what that new Sean Mannion offense looks like, unless you went to practice or something that you're going to tell me all about practice.
Absolutely.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that. It's going to be interesting when they kick off on opening day. College football starts next weekend, and it's a great time of year. You know, my favorite time of year, when we have plenty to talk about in Philly sports.
We got actually some football games this weekend, Bill, college football. It is week 0. We'll get to that later. The Phillies, I think they've been, playing pretty well ever since they went into the cornfields of Iowa. That got them back on track. They've won 10 of 12 now since then, so not bad at all. And, Bill, yeah, I know you're very excited about the fact that we have pro and college football starting up real soon.
Can't wait. And we have a couple great guests that are going to join us tonight. We're going to talk about a lot of football with former NFL Films cameraman, producer, turned author Bob Angelo making a return visit. And first-timer Erin Riley joins us to talk about her new book, The Mighty WMMR, which I know you're really excited about that. Is this going to be another good one?
Yeah, Bob and Erin have written 2 of my favorite books of the past 4 years or so. Bob's The NFL Off Camera in 2023, and then Erin's just published a book about my favorite radio station ever, Phillies WMMR. Both books are terrific. But we got the football guy up first, Bill. Let's get to it.
Let's welcome Bob Angelo back to Philly Pressbox Radio. Bob, welcome.
Hi, guys. How are you both?
Great to see you, Bob. Let's get started with, it's your favorite time of year, as I said. So my first question, where do you stand in terms of NFL preseason games? How much do they matter, and how closely do you watch them?
They matter very much to the young men trying to make rosters. And they also, to me, are a chance to study the depth that teams have. Good teams have a little bit of depth. Bad teams have no depth. They're bringing in new people every season to try to upgrade their offensive and defensive performance. Teams like the Eagles have a bunch of good players that I enjoyed watching in game 1, didn't see game 2. I was in Pittsburgh for a high school reunion and spent most of the weekend under the bar. But I basically have a good handle on where the Eagles are right now. And I like everything I'm seeing from the Philadelphia Eagles. Except, as you pointed out, Bill, I haven't seen anything of Sean Mannion's first-team offense on the field. And we're not going to see much of it Friday night, as I'm hearing.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're right. And, Bob, I think Chet throws that out there because I hate preseason. I'm all about the practices. I mean, you got to practice. You got to get better. And all that, but these games that are pretty much meaningless. You got a couple guys fighting for roster spots, but that's not going to change much. They pretty much know who that's going to be going in, unless somebody just falls out of a tree and is, really good. So I'm not a real fan of it. With that said, it does sound like the Eagles' offensive line, as you mentioned, may be showing some depth and some growth that we didn't know we had.
Lampkin is that his name, Lampkin?
Yep.
Smallish guy, apparently the smallest man in stature. I say smallish in height. Wow. And the other guy, the guard, the other center guard, both of them. And you look at those 2 guys and you think, well, that was an alleged weak spot in the Eagles offensive line, with Dickerson considering retirement, and Juergens basically being injured most of last season and not playing up to par. Wow, now it's a strength. Add the other dude at the end of the line who has been grooming, he's been there being groomed by, a future Hall of Fame offensive tackle. Wow. Depth, a lot of depth on the other line. Liking what I see there. Makai Lemon missing most of camp. That bothers me because that's problematic because who knows who the second wide receiver is. Apparently, the young man from Green Bay has the inside track. But when they go to 12 personnel meaning one running back, two tight ends, when they go to 12 personnel, if you see Lemon on the field, then I think that signals passing situation. You see that you see him lined up in the slot. That's definitely a passing situation. And that brings me to the tight ends. I mean, I'm looking at Leo Stowers. Am I pronouncing that right?
Eli Stowers, yes.
Eli Stowers.
Well, I think he's going to replace Calcavecchia, but that's about all I know about him. I'm hearing that his run blocking is improving, and it'll have to, because otherwise he's not going to be on the field in 12 personnel, and that's where the Eagles are going to be a lot more this season, simply because that's what Sean Mannion does. They run inside and outside zone. They depend on having two tight ends, so it's balanced and it can go either way. I don't know that Mannion's going to change everything that he brought to Philadelphia, courtesy of Kyle Shanahan and all of the other people who run that style of offense that he's learned. But we'll see. And then beyond that, I'm looking at the quarterback situation. I keep hearing over and over and over again that Tanner's on the block. I don't see that. Why would you trade Tanner McKee? I mean, get rid of the guy from Cincinnati. He's a vet. He's got a big salary. Dump him. Get rid of him. Move on. Make Tanner the backup quarterback. He'll play here another year without too much complaint, I would think, especially given the fact that the Eagles have a legit chance to go deep into the postseason again. And that's from my point of view, because the Vic Fangio defense is not going to let them down.
Hey, Bob, you mentioned Makai Lemon, the Birds' first-round draft pick. He's been on the sidelines for much of the summer. He is finally back out there practicing. But I want to ask you, did you like the pick of Makai Lemon when they made it back in April? And do you see him ultimately being a big contributor as a rookie?
At first, I thought, wow, you're bringing this guy in to replace a great, big, strong wideout. But then when I did my research, he's a Southern Cal receiver who played slot receiver, and he's used to doing that. And I think in a perfect world, that's where they want Makai to play. Again, now if they're in a two tight end situation where they've only got two wideouts on the field, or one wideout on the field, I'm sorry, then if Lemon is lined up wide, that's a clear indication to defense. We're throwing the ball. We're far more likely to throw the ball. I don't know that he's going to be comfortable out there. He doesn't have a whole lot of experience out there. And that gives the Eagles two smallish guys on the edges. Not too sure they want that either. Is it, I can't say his first name, Demarion or Wicks?
Dontavian Wicks.
Dontavian Wicks. I like his prospects here in Philly. I really do. All of it, guys, gets back to the quarterback. And that's where I have my biggest issues. The New England practices, I think, exposed something that I've been afraid of and have, I hate to see it, but yes, as a group, they haven't really gone up against anybody. And here they are in their first two scrimmages against a team that played in the Super Bowl last year. And this team wants to get better, but Jalen didn't look good. And overall, basically, Jalen Hurts is a smallish guy, big, strong weightlifter type, who doesn't like to throw the ball over the middle, who doesn't like to be he doesn't like to call his own number on running plays much anymore, although he will do it. And people talk about his rushing touchdowns. Well, yeah, they're all 1-yard sneaks. He's had a few other big plays, but on third and long, when depending on what formation they're in, what personnel group they're in, I don't like him having that option to just look for his primary receiver. If it's not there, pull the ball down and head toward the sideline. I've seen too much of that in the past. That bothers me. I know his statistics are incredible. I know that he is the winningest coach by winning percentage in, actively playing in the NFL right now. And I think that includes Pat Mahomes. But my goodness, in big games, he can toss the ball up. In big games, he can look downfield one time, come out of the huddle. His primary receiver is not there, and I think he looks for his primary all the time. And I played quarterback in high school. I know what it's like. But I was 17 playing quarterback in high school. He's a grown-ass man playing for a team with Super Bowl aspirations. If he comes out of the huddle in this offense, looking for a guy, and he's not there, and he pulls the ball down and goes, wow. It doesn't matter what offense you're playing. You're on the run. You're throwing the ball on the run. Defenses collapse on you. He's not pulling the ball down and heading downfield. He's trying to keep his focus downfield. When he's doing that, he's minimizing his chances of completing it. And too many 3-and-outs last year. Too many 3-and-outs. We've got the ball back. Wow. And our defense is back on the field 3.5 minutes later.
Hey, Bob, I want to talk defense with you, but before I do, I wanted to throw a comment out that I saw just about an hour before we came on here. You talk about Eli Sowers. I don't know if this was a random comment or what, but it was like he has played so bad that he shouldn't even be dressing, that he's a taxi squad guy, practice squad guy. So I'm going to be interesting to see how that plays out, if that was just somebody's observation or what. But anyway, over to the defensive side. We've got Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis are now $47 million of defensive tackles per year, by the way. Can we expect those two to have those Pro Bowl years and be team wreckers, offensive wreckers like we're hoping they can be?
Absolutely. Jalen Carter is a game wrecker. He's an absolute game wrecker. And the fact that the Eagles have signed him long-term tells me that the Eagles intend to advance deep into the playoffs with him and his fellow Georgia defensive lineman, who lost a lot of weight, played like a true champion last year, and has become basically one of the best defensive tackles in the sport, one of the best interior defensive linemen in this sport. And this, given the fact that he was called out after his rookie season as being a little too heavy and having no stamina, I think that's remarkable, the change that he's made. So, yes, I expect these guys to be part of Fangio's operation for hopefully years to come, because I want to see Vic stay around. Talk about other groups on this field who are just exceptional. It's hard to deny Jeremiah Trotter a spot in a rotation because he has really grown. This is his third year. He's having his best training camp. He's everywhere. And now he's blitzing quarterbacks and getting there. The other two players are exceptional. Zach Bond and my man Jihad Campbell, who's lightning quick, but so many times last year, Jihad would arrive at the quarterback and miss him. He's got to be a little more disciplined when he gets there. But those three guys, as your stand-up inside linebackers. And now let's move on to the next trio. Now that Rick Wallen's part of this team, name an NFL team that's got three better cornerbacks, starting on the edge and in the slot. I mean, these three guys are exceptionally good football players. When Mr. Grenard comes back after his pectoral injury, I think the edge rushers are looking pretty good. I don't think Vic Fangio's defense is going to let the 2026 Eagles cause down. I really don't. I worry a little bit about depth at the safety position. It's hard to lose the dude who went to Houston.
Blankenship.
Yeah, I mean, he walked on, got a job, became one of the best downhill safeties in the NFL. He reminded me a lot of Harrison Smith in Minnesota. To me, the same person, except one older, one younger. I wish him well in Houston. I wish he was still here. But again, I don't think Fangio's defense is going to be the issue. I think it's going to be Jalen. Can you move the sticks? Can you move the sticks? Can you adapt to this offense? Can you find receivers over the middle other than your primary read? Because I brought up that thing about me playing quarterback in high school because I would come out of the huddle and, okay, I know who the ball is supposed to go to. And if it wasn't there, I panicked. Well, but that was at age 17. Jalen's what now, 26, 27? He's got to hold the ball, look downfield, keep his focus downfield, as opposed to, just getting out of harm's way to the sideline. And stop throwing the ball out of bounds on third down and bring the defense back out there.
Saquon Barkley ran for 2,005 yards in 2024, just 1,140 last year, thanks in part to the O-line's problems. Barkley is still just 29, but that is getting up there in terms of running back years. How you feeling about Saquon looking ahead to the 2026 season?
I have 2 words for that. Tank Bigsby. Rotate these men in and out of the football game. They're the same back. No, Tank doesn't have Saquon's elusiveness and big play breakaway potential. Very few running backs in modern NFL history have had that potential and have executed the way Saquon did in season on their way to their victory against the Kansas City Chiefs 2 years ago, when he could have broken the all-time single-season rushing record, but opted out of that last game of the season. That to me tells me what he's all about. He's a winner. He's a winner, and team is what's important to him. Last year, not so much. Again, as you pointed out, offensive line, Dickerson out, Lane Johnson out, Cam Jurgens playing hurt. These men are all healthy now, I hear. Lane in particular is important because, again, you talk about Eagles winning football games with a certain man on the field. Well, with Lane Johnson's on the field, somehow his protecting that quarterback's right side and his ability to make those key blocks. And I point out something that when Sean Mannion was announced as the new Eagles offensive coordinator, it didn't take Dickerson and Lane long to decide we're coming back, because it's a lot easier on offensive linemen when all you've got to do is step forward and control your defensive, your mark, and roll him toward the sideline on outside zone, or just control him on inside zone and let the back make the decision. Right away, I'm sure Lane and Landon said, hell yeah. Instead of firing out, constantly putting our bodies, in the middle of it all, now we can get control of our opponents and allow Saquon to make moves. So I think Saquon is going to have a strong season. He'll also be involved in the passing game, because when you're part of this offense, you have to be. I like the young dude. I can't remember his name. I saw him leap over 2 defenders. That's how happy he is.
Oh, yeah.
To be part of the Eagles passing game. That's good stuff. Offensively, though, again, to me, comes back to, can the quarterback keep the sticks moving this year? I think Sean Mannion's going to give him every opportunity to do that. I think Barkley and Tank, between them, will keep moving the sticks. But every now and then, Jalen, you got to hit a 3rd and 8. And you just got to hit a 3rd and 8. You can't roll right and throw the ball out of bounds.
Hey, Bob, Howie Roseman's been pretty successful over the last handful of years. He's done real well. He's going to have some real decisions to make, because you can't pay everybody. So as we get through year 3, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Jeremiah Trotter, Jalix Hunt, all are coming up on contracts. Man, what a juggling act that's going to take from Roseman to be able to secure these players, barring injury, that have been so good for them.
I agree. And they have to make hard choices. Rick Woolen signed for 1 year. I think he's going to give them a whole lot of help on the corner. It's up to the young edge rusher to prove himself. Rick Woolen really ticked me off last year when he went after, I want to say, Sean McVay on the sideline. I thought that was pretty classless. But then when I heard that he walked over to the sideline after the game and made a point of apologizing, I said, that shows me some class. I'm glad he's here. He's tall. He's lanky. He's got long arms. That's a good cornerback to have opposite Toledo dude. I always go blank on his name. Help me out here. Our other cornerback.
Quinyon Mitchell.
Quinyon, yeah. I mean, I can never remember his name. It begins with a Q. That's odd. To have somebody like him and now to have Rick Woolen playing opposite him, that forces quarterbacks to look at their slot receiver. And guess what? You've got the best slot corner in the NFL, one of the surest tacklers in the NFL, playing next to Quinyon. And, you know, this young man has tickets to the 76ers. He can slam dunk a basketball forehanded, backhanded, or over his head. He's a tremendous athlete and football player. So, again, I point out, name 3 better cornerbacks. How do you keep them all? I don't know. Woolen's going to probably move on. I think he's going to become a hired gun. Howie's always demonstrated an ability to find a young DB to bring him into the situation, or a young anybody at any position to bring him in and get a year or two out of him. I don't think he expected Zach Bond to perform at this level, but I'm glad he kept him. But you're right. There are some hard choices coming up because they're spending a lot of money on a quarterback and a couple of defensive linemen. And, yeah, good luck, Howie. That's why
it's going to be an interesting season for sure. Hey, Bob, we got a couple of minutes left only. We got to get a little college football talk. And there are 8 games this weekend. Actually, Penn State begins a week from Saturday against Marshall. I know you say you don't know a whole lot about the new head coach, Matt Campbell, or the quarterback he brought along with him, Rocco Becht. But how are you feeling about the Nittany Lions with, you know, all these newcomers from Iowa State coming to Happy Valley and a new coach for the first time in quite a while?
I've heard nothing but good things about the head coach,
Matt Campbell.
I was talking to Mike Motti in the spring because I had a project I was working on for a friend, and Mike was one of the people who came in to be interviewed. And Mike said he was part of our Campbell was part of our top 3 right from the get. There was never any doubt about we wanted one of these 3 guys. And when people were panicking over candidates saying, no, we don't want to come to Penn State, Mike said, we always knew that this guy was valued by us as much as anybody else. I don't know anything at all about Rocco Becht other than he followed Campbell here. I said Mike Campbell. It's not Mike, is it? It's can't think of his name. Well, nothing at all about Rocco Becht other than he's following Drew Aller. And I had huge hopes for Drew Aller. And I'll finish with this story. A lot of my friends said, you're a Penn Stater. You just see blue and white. You're not seeing how poorly this guy played last year. Well, guess what? When Ken Wisenhunt was there, a former NFL tight end, somebody who knows professional passing games, a former Super Bowl participating head coach, when he was there, Drew Aller made strides. When he left, as usual, Penn State's coaching turned a 5-star quarterback into a day 3 draft pick. Well, guess what? I told people he's going to be picked on day 2. He's got the whole skill set. He just was under-trained. I've heard so many stories from so many pro coaches about NFL quarterbacks coming out and being acutely under-trained. He's with a quarterback coach in Pittsburgh, Joe Arth, who is Mike. Matt, I'm going blank on names here. McNamara. Mike
McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy's. He is Mike McCarthy's key guy, and you can see the progress he's made already. His cleats are in the ground. He's reading the field. He's keeping his focus downfield. The only good play the Steelers made last week against the New York Jets was him rolling left, escapability, something he wasn't given a lot of credit for in college, and got off a pass that I guarantee you only 5 quarterbacks in the NFL have the arm to do that. The ball comes out of his arm so beautifully. He's an exceptional quarterback. I told people he's going to be picked in the second round. I even predicted the teams. I said it would either be the Jets, the Browns, or the Steelers. I thought it would be the Browns in spite of that quarterback room disaster up there because they had so many because he wanted to play for the Browns, and he made that clear. But I said those three teams, they've got him. My promise, he'll be the Steelers starting quarterback next year. He'll learn from Aaron Rodgers. He'll suck it in, and by next year, he'll be ready to start in the NFL, and he'll play 10 years. There you have it.
Hey, here's an interesting tidbit for you regarding Matt Campbell, the new head coach at Penn State. He went to Mount Union, a powerhouse back in the day, and his roommate was one Nick Sirianni.
Wow, that's interesting.
So you think they sat around and talked some ball during maybe over a beverage or two along the way?
I would hope so. But Matt Campbell, it comes with really, really fine recommendations and a great resume. The culture that he is creating at Penn State, I'm hearing from my friends who are close to that situation is, it's they're looking long term. They're looking to, bring Penn State back into that conversation. Every year, this team can qualify for the postseason. And I'd love to see that. I just don't know enough about the guy. I've never seen him coach, never seen Rocco Becht play. And that's odd for me going into a Penn State season because I live and die for blue and white.
Bob, we got to wrap it up. Folks, if you haven't already done so, get this book. It's the NFL off camera, like me, off camera. It's really good. Bob Angelo, we're going to do this again sometime during the course of the season. Thank you, and enjoy the first weekend of college football.
Will do, and put New Year's Day on your schedule again.
Okay, will do.
There you go.
All right.
All right, Bob, thanks. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
See ya.
All right. Hey, Chad, Philly Pressbox Radio is part of the STT Sports Network, as in Set the Trends. It's a network set up by our pal Phil Stifel, host of the terrific Trending in the AM show that you can find every weekday morning on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel. Check out Phil. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Phil's show is on there, and so is ours. Yep. You can find Philly Pressbox there in addition to on our own YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. Again, it's the STT Sports Network, setting the trends for what sports talk should be. Chet, football season is upon us. There's no better place to watch the games and get a cold beer and a great meal than at Curran's Irish Rover. What's going on at the Rover as the season approaches?
Well, always plenty happening at Curran's Irish Rover in Langhorne, PA, Bill. Great food and drinks, of course, but they recently launched a pan-fried chicken parm sandwich. It is a big hit. And check out these regular daily events. 80-cent wings every Tuesday, and that's all day on Tuesdays now, by the way. Trivia and prime rib specials Wednesday evenings. It's also martini night here on Wednesday. Music bingo every Thursday, and happy hour deals Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. Always 25 beers on tap and a friendly, knowledgeable wait staff. Plus, live music on Fridays and Saturday nights. That is at Curran's Irish Rover. They're located at 1033 South Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. And they have a new website, too. That would be curransIrishRover.com. And I think we got to see and hear from Ray Diddy.
Hi, this is Ray Didinger, and it is always fun to talk sports with these two guys, Bill and Chad, on Philly Pressbox Radio.
And by the way, great to see Ray Diddy last week. I saw Ray Diddy, Glenn Macnow, Paul Domowitch, Kevin Reevey, Jack Fritz, and a host of others. The Philly Fanatic was there, too. It was at a big event at one of Glenn's bars, Puddler's Kitchen and Tap in Bridgeport, PA, raising funds for Philadelphia youth sports. And it was a great night last Thursday.
Good deal. It sounds like you had a lot of fun. You were telling me some about it. Good bunch of people right there, that's for sure. They've all been good to us.
By the way, folks, stick around because later in the show, in the wake of Dolly Parton's passing, I'm going to see if I can get Bill to join me in a duet of Islands in the Stream. So what do you think, Bill?
You'll probably sound a lot more like Dolly than me. I'll probably sound a lot more like Kenny, I'm thinking.
We'll see how that goes.
You're pretty impressed that I even knew that, though, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, good one.
Hey, Chet, the Phillies ran off 9 in a row, 3 sweeps before going to Seattle. They had to salvage one today after kind of letting one go last night. Currently in the second wild card spot. Looks like they're 4 games behind the Braves, I think, at this minute at least. In the East, biggest concern right now to me is that Zack Wheeler, something's just a tick off with wheels, Chet. 15 walks and 6 home runs in his last 4 games. They need him to be right.
It is a definite concern, no question, Bill. Wheeler's first 16 starts this year, a 2.16 ERA. His last 6 starts, just 24 and a third total innings, an 8.51 ERA. And in those 24 and a third innings, 31 hits allowed and 16 walks. Yeah, that is not Zack Wheeler. The fastball is still there, but his control clearly not what we're expecting from Zack Wheeler. So I got to be honest, I'm not feeling real confident that he's going to turn it around. I hope I'm wrong.
I know you're wrong. I know you're
right.
wrong on that one because
Okay.
he's a guy. He's a gamer. He's the guy I still want to have the ball when all the chips are down. He's the guy that I want pitching that last game for me, and I'm hoping he gets right. Well, speaking of getting right, what did you think of that Andrew Painter's last effort during the last homestand where he pitched extremely well?
That was really nice to see. He needed that. The Phillies needed that to keep their then win streak alive. So, yeah, that was very encouraging. And Aaron Nola, who we've talked about pretty much every week of late, has been really, really good over his last 6 starts. So right now, based on recent performance, you got Luzardo and Nola pitching better than Sanchez and certainly Wheeler. So, hopefully everybody can figure it out, and that'll give them all a much better chance of making a deep postseason run.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other thing that we found in those nine wins, and they reverted back a little bit today, but a win is a win. It wasn't the long ball. It was hits, and more hits. And they were just rolling teams, which was really good. And winning some games, scoring 7 runs and not hitting any home runs. Today, Harper hit one in the first, Schwarber hit one in the second, and they took a big lead early with the long ball. But, man, it's all about that small ball and hitting the baseball and driving guys around the bases.
Yeah, but Schwarber has starting to get hot again, which is great to see. That big home run on Sunday, and then home run number 40 today in the second inning, as you said. And how about that finish on Sunday, Bill? I didn't get to see it live because we had people over, but man, I read about it and then I watched the entire game, and I fast forwarded to the 9th inning to see how that developed. That was exciting. What a finish.
It was exciting, probably as good as we've seen in a really, really long time. I mean, they were all but dead. Guy on second, 2 outs, 2 strikes. That game was in the bag, and nope, not today, that's for sure. And then topping it off with a massive Schwarber bomb. That was really cool.
Yeah, it really was. And how about this guy, Bryson Stott, who, we've talked about this before. He made the switch from second base to third base, and he's playing it like, Brooks Robinson, just a terrific defensive player. And he's also hitting the ball well offensively. So he's certainly turned things around offensively, and he's been great wherever he plays defensively. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Bryson Stott.
I didn't know this, and I didn't check it, but I'm sure they said it on the broadcast, so I'm going to say it's right. The other night, he had a throwing error from third base, bounced one over there, got away. That was his second error of the season. 2.
Wow.
2. I'm going to go with the fact that T-Mac and them got that right, but that's what they went with. And, man, that's a heck of a season for as many, he plays every day and getting a lot of chances and has just 2 errors. That's pretty darn good. And a position change on top of it.
He's a joy to watch. Alec Boehm has, performed very well in August as well. Turner has picked it up a good bit defensively. He did have an error, I guess, yesterday. But, they're playing some good ball. Today was just a perfect game. 6-0, 2 hits allowed, great defensive plays. 10 out of 12 wins now. They're, still certainly within running for the NL East. They're in pretty good position for at least the second wild card spot, if nothing else. So you got to feel a lot better about the Phillies than we did 2 weeks ago.
Absolutely. Well, they go down to Anaheim. They play 3 down there, and they need to get fat down there, and they start headed back home. They've got 7 more with the Braves. So it's going to be in their hands. It'll be 4 in Philly and 3 in Atlanta. And, if they can keep it close, it'll be in their hands to take this thing and make it happen. So We'll see, but it sure was nice rolling off some wins after it looked like they were dead again.
Yep. They're fun to watch, and I don't know what to expect. I was one of those guys who was starting to write them off when we went from July to August, and they certainly turned it around ever since they went to Iowa. So I don't know what to expect anymore, Bill. They got a shot at 90 wins, and who would have figured that?
Right. Well, and I still think when it comes down to it, when you get the good solid pitching that they're getting for the most part, they got a chance.
Yep.
All right, Chet, what's going on with the best tailgaters in Philadelphia? Bob Cavanaugh and the gang at Cavs Philly Tailgates.
Well, Bill, Cavs Philly Tailgates has been cooking up a terrific catering business for some 35 years. Cavs, a 3-time winner of Philly Tailgates Jack Daniels Great American Tailgate Party Contest, and a past winner of the Philly Daily News Tailgate Award. Cavs also does corporate events, parties, you name it, but Cavs best known for those tailgates before Philly sporting events and concerts. And there are more on the schedule. There's one before the Temple Penn State game at the Link, and that is fast approaching. That is a week from, or 2 weeks from Saturday, September 12th. Plus, there'll be a tailgate bash before AC/DC rocks the Link on September 29th. Of course, tailgates before all Eagles home games too, starting with the season opener on September 13th. Get details on those and other events at Cavs' website. It's phillytailgates.com. And if you do have any questions, you can email them at cavscatering@verizon.net. Cavs Philly Tailgates is the way to go.
Yes, they are. Hey, Chet, before we move on to your visit and to talk about WMMR, a couple football notes. There's no longer a Pro Bowl.
Yeah, how about that?
The NFL has eliminated that disaster, thank goodness. They will still name a Pro Bowl team of, I believe, 80 Pro Bowlers. 88 Pro Bowlers. Okay, yes. So they're going to name 2 full teams so guys can get their bonus money, I guess. Also, a couple other things that I'll toss out real quick. Couple rule changes that might be interesting to people. There are 5 illegal plays now that if you get 3 of those, you get suspended. And that is the hip drop tackle, the horse collar tackle, launching, always a questionable call anyway. Hit on a defenseless player, that's always another questionable call. And a blindside block. So everybody has a clean slate, but these will carry over year to year. I thought that was an interesting twist into this too. So, so those are new rules. If you get 3 of any combination of those, you are suspended for a game. Interesting from the NFL.
Yeah, very interesting. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But it's all going to start very soon, Bill, a couple of weeks away, and I can't wait.
Oh, me neither. Hey, you had a chance to visit with Erin Riley. I don't know Erin Riley, so I'm going to get you to tell us about it. She is the author of the Mighty WMMR, which is right up your alley. Tell us about Erin. I know you're a huge MMR fan and have been forever. So tell us what's up.
I knew the name Erin Riley from her time at MMR way back in the 1980s, but never met her. Then in this spring, I found out that she would be coming out with this book, The Mighty WMMR. And I immediately reached out to her on Facebook, telling her how excited I was about the book and told her I would love to interview her about it for our show and my Random Chet channel this summer. She said, of course. So we stayed in touch, and I got and read the book a few weeks ago. Absolutely loved it. And well, she and I the other day had a wonderful conversation about it. Did you want to say something else? I thought you were going to mix in something there.
Well, no? I was just listening to you saying, let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Now, before I play the interview, for the many WMMR fans out there, take note, this that I'm going to play for you is actually only about 60% of Erin's and my conversation, 15 and a half minutes worth. I had to trim it due to time constraints for our show. The full conversation, 28 minutes in length, will hit YouTube, my Random Chet channel, immediately after our Wednesday Philly Pressbox radio show concludes. So check out the full conversation because there's lots of juicy stuff in there. And with that in mind, I'm going to get that conversation for you right now, but I didn't have it preloaded, so I got to do that right now. I'm going into my stash of video files, and I'm finding the interview with Erin, and I got it. So here we go, Bill.
The 29,000-watt flamethrower. The Mighty 93.3 WMMR, Philadelphia.
Well, if you're from the Philly or South Jersey area, you are no doubt familiar with the terrific radio station 93.3 WMMR. I've been a fan for more than 50 years, and I now have the pleasure of talking with the author of a brand new book about the Mighty WMMR. That happens to be the book's title. And the author is this talented woman, Erin Riley. Erin, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about this wonderful book and station. And so thanks. Good to see you.
Yeah. Well, I read the book last week, and it is terrific. I have no shortage of questions for you. So let's start with your history at WMMR. You worked there for 7.5 years, 1983 to 91, but it all started in kind of an odd way for you in that you had hoped to be a DJ, but the bosses there had other plans for a then 23-year-old Erin Riley.
That is true. I am from the East Coast, and I grew up going to concerts at the Spectrum. I lived in Central Jersey. So this is my home where my family lives. But I had gone out to California to sort of find myself, you know, like people do. And I broke into radio on the West Coast. So I was a DJ on the West Coast at radio stations in Los Angeles and also in Santa Barbara, California. And so I thought I was going to be a DJ for my career. So fast forward to, I get a call from Charlie Kendall, the program director at WMMR, and he's offering me an air shift, and I'm ready to move back home. I quit my job with 0 notice to my bosses, much to the chagrin of them, and showed up in Charlie's office where he said, I have good news and I have bad news. Next thing I know, I was offered the job of music director. So I didn't really know what that meant or what I was supposed to do, but I, at that point, was jobless. So I certainly took that.
Heck yeah. Hey, your book focuses primarily on WMMR from its inception in 1968 up through the early 1990s. And man, the stories you got to tell about the 1970s were quite entertaining. The always hungry Ed Shockey, program director Jerry Stevens disappearing for a month, Michael Tierson chopping down an office door with an axe. Tierson told you he was stoned pretty much the whole time late at night. Michael was and is quite a character.
Yeah, Michael was my first interview. So I was asked by Temple University Press to interview 60 people. Michael was the first one, such an interesting character.
Michael Tierson on Into the Night. Get ready, because we're going to launch another 16-song music marathon with Asia in just a minute.
We spent, oh my God, about 3 hours on the phone. Yeah, he sure has a lot of stories and tells them in a colorful way. And that's why he is so beloved by the audience in the Philadelphia area, because he won his way into their hearts, and his music knowledge is just beyond. Like, he is an encyclopedia.
Bruce Springsteen, #1 today with Trapped. That's the top 5 at 5 for today here on WMMR. We'll run it down again tomorrow.
Joe Bonadonna arrived in 1977, stayed for more than 20 years. I remember him well for the music marathons, the top 5 at 5, the Soul Patrol, and he was program director during your time there, and you wrote that you and he didn't always agree on the music MMR should be playing.
Joe Bonadonna became the program director at the very end of my tenure there, maybe 90 after 7 years. So I worked for Charlie Kendall, George Harris, Ted Utz, and then Joe Bonadonna. Joe Bonadonna was more conservative than I was. Having come from California and working at K-Rock in Los Angeles, which was the new Rock of the 80s format, I was really hired at MMR to make sure that they could position themselves in an, somewhat offensive way against I-92 that was coming into Philadelphia with the Rock of the 80s format. No one in Philadelphia knew that music, whether that be Adam Ant or, Joy Division or any kind of alternative stuff wasn't getting any traction in Philadelphia. So that's why I was hired, to make sure that that had a place on MMR, or we at least knew how to position ourselves against that. That's not Joe's world. Joe's world is, more Foreigner, the Rolling Stones, the safer stuff, Eric Clapton, that's his stuff. And to be honest with you, you always have to come back to that if you're, programming for WMMR. That's the meat and potatoes of WMMR's audience, our classic rock to, Well, it was new rock at the time. So yeah, he made me work very, very hard to get new bands on the radio added, and we did, butt heads a lot. But I came to learn through interviewing him for the book that he was more like the station dad. He wanted to make sure we didn't veer too far one way or another, because if that happens with a radio station, that's when the ratings can fall and you lose your loyal listeners, and then you're changing format. And WMMR hasn't changed format in 58 years.
In late 1983, your first year as music director, the Hooters' Amore album came out, and MMR did play it heavily. You interviewed Eric, Rob, and Dave from the Hooters, and they acknowledged just how crucial MMR was to their career.
Yes, absolutely. I was there the day they brought that record in, Amore, their, beautifully produced and wonderful, independent record before they were on Columbia Records, with so many good songs. And they brought it to me in the music office, and I didn't even listen to it because I'd already seen them live. I knew how good they were. I ran it down with the band, with Eric and Rob were there, to Pierre Robert in the midday show. He was already in the midday show at that point. And he just put on track 1 and then talked to the band, and then track 2, talk to the band, track 3, talk to the band. Next thing you know, the program director is like running down the hall going, "What are you doing? You're doing like a whole half hour for a local band." We're like, "We can't stop. It's so good." But yes, the energy behind the Hooters, and then, the school spirit contest we did with them, where we had like a write-in contest for high schools. They had to write in a 3x5 card that said WMMR and the Hooters and the name of their high school. And we got 26 million entries. We had to actually rent a warehouse to, store these entries from all the different local area high schools. And we couldn't even count them. There were so many. We had to weigh the cards from the different schools. And Shawnee High School won a concert. So, and then they had so much fun. The Hooters at that concert, they did a whole tour of high schools. So those stories are all told in the book from the perspective of the Hooters, and as they were gaining traction in the Philadelphia area, and then got signed to Columbia Records and got on MTV, and then opened Live Aid, and they keep on going. They're still going, same thing, 50 years later.
Well, Pierre said the local band thing is one of the coolest parts of WMMR's history, and man, he's not wrong. Speaking of Pierre, man, I was devastated by his passing last fall, but he arrived at MMR a couple of years before you. You worked with him for your entire tenure there. Tell us about Pierre Robert and your relationship.
Pierre is, just everything you would imagine he is, just by knowing him on the radio. There he is, lovely Pierre. And his warm voice and his friendly nature and his patience with people. Pierre would treat everybody the same. Didn't matter if you were Mick Jagger from the Rolling Stones, or John Bon Jovi, his close personal friend, or some, annoying listener that cornered him at a club and wouldn't let him get away for an hour. He would take the time for absolutely everyone. He was present with people. He was warm with people, and that's who he is as a person.
Radio, to me, it's such a more personal form of communication, because it can go into places where television can't. It can go into your cubicle at work. It can be outside if you work outside. It could be in a factory. It could be in a warehouse. So all these people from all these walks of life, and the personal connection that allows radio to be a friend, to keep you company.
All of my memories with Pierre are good. Absolutely. They're either funny or they're warm. Nothing is bad. I have no bad memories with Pierre. He would call me our lovely musical director. So when I would and I was the music director, but only Pierre called me the musical director. And it just sounded so musical. I just loved it. So I felt like I was special to him. And I had the great fortune to spend Pierre's last Christmas with him before he passed. So he was a lifelong friend and a wonderful human being, and he is very missed by all of Philadelphia.
John DeBella arrived in 1982, and with his great cast of characters on The Morning Zoo, he helped take MMR to the top of the Philly radio ratings heap by 1985. Any favorite memories of your time with DeBella?
Oh, Jesus. So how many hours do you have for this? We could go on and on and on with DeBella. My God. First of all, I do want to say, with regard to the local bands, that was one of the sort of deciding factors for John to come to Philadelphia. He was on Long Island at WLIR. He was offered jobs in Manhattan, in New York City. He could have been the next big New York City jock, and he is a New Yorker. But he was offered this morning job by Charlie Kendall. He drove down to Philadelphia to kind of check out this, this area. And he listened to all the competing radio stations, WIOQ, WMMR, and WYSP. And he heard local bands on all of them. And he's like, I want to be here. I want to be here. These people are doing like a kind of radio I want to be a part of, not big corporate radio. So he relocated to Philly, and with his show called The DeBella Travesty, he had originally wanted to go into theater. He wasn't really looking to be a radio DJ, but he's such a funny guy that he started working with a National Lampoon radio show, and it kind of took off from there. So yeah, John is a very strong personality. I say that, I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. He knows what he wants. He's direct. He's funny. He's intelligent.
To be exact, I'm a morning man. Now, what this means is that I get up ridiculously early so that you get up on time and have somebody to curse at all the way to work.
He is a Renaissance man like you wouldn't believe. He's a woodworker now, of a Class A like woodworker. Go find his John DeBella woodworking site. He makes all kinds of beautiful handmade wood pieces. And he was always dressed to the nines. I'd get there, 6 o'clock in the morning. That guy's in like a suit and taps and some, custom printed shirt and cufflinks. He's stylish, and he's an art collector. He's really an extraordinary human being. And I spent just as much time interviewing him as I did Michael Tierson. We could have gone on for 6 hours. So.
And you did get into the whole DeBella Howard Stern thing in the book. We're not going to talk about that here, but people know about it, and it was certainly interesting. I love how you wrapped up the book with many of the former MMR staffers telling you what made WMMR special: a sense of community, listeners feeling a bond, the authenticity, and then a couple of paragraphs from the late great Pierre Robert, which just brought a tear to my eye, to be honest. So,
me too.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what was it that made WMMR so special for you?
Well, it really, it's like sort of like a microcosm of like that time frame, at least from my life. I was born in 1959, so I'm getting up there, getting long in the tooth now. But my childhood and formative years were the 70s and the 80s. And the 70s was fantastic. the 60s too. But the 70s was such a good time. And I have such wonderful memories of the music was so great. And, we're just, I don't know, less stress. It seemed like, you could really live your life. You didn't have cameras on you all the time. You weren't being tracked everywhere you went. There wasn't evidence if you were, being a teenager, whatever. Just kind of learning how to be a human being. And so WMMR, I feel like, was there for those people at that time, exposing them to great music. If you hear this music and you like it, say some particular band, whatever, you like Genesis or Yes or Gentle Giant or some progressive rock, and then you meet somebody else that heard that on MMR, suddenly you have an instant friend. Oh, I love them too. Let's go see their show or whatever. It kind of developed, helped people develop who they became, what their tastes were, who they connected to, who they felt community with. So yeah, my favorite part one of my favorite parts of the book that gets told over and over again is at one point we had a 950,000 cume. That means there are almost 1 million people listening to WMMR at any given moment. So when you're driving down the Schuylkill Expressway and you're stuck in traffic and you're bopping your head to WMMR and you look over to the right and there's somebody bopping their head with the same rhythm, you're like, yeah, hey, and suddenly, you got a friend, right? You got a friend, somebody's doing the same thing as you are. And that really does create like a human energy of connection that I think is greatly missing in society today.
Tell everybody how the late Bubba John Stevens got that nickname.
Bubba John Stevens here in the nighttime on WMMR.
Bubba John Stevens got that nickname, I believe. John DeBella called him Porky at an event for the Porky's Revenge movie premiere. And Bubba was like, you're not calling me Porky, no way. And he goes, how about Bubba? And he was like, kind of like the sound of that. And that stuck forever. So it really was from John DeBella came up with that. John DeBella had a nickname for everyone. We all had nicknames from John. Yes.
Hey, last thing, you have some book signings on the schedule, book signing events, including this one. Tell us about it.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. My God, talk about having imposter syndrome. Like, how did I get there? There are super famous people on that stage. But anyway, yes, John DeBella, who lives in Nashville now, will be flying up to interview me and join me for this event at the Philadelphia Free Library on the Parkway. It's at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, September 15th. Registration is free, but you must register. And I will tell you, there are a lot of special surprises. It's such a big event that there are former staff members coming in, flying in from all around the country, as far away as California. And it'll be a great time. So I think that audience, that room holds about 1,000 people. So it might be just totally packed full of crazy WMMR fans, and everybody wants to see John again. And there's a Q&A as well. So if people have questions, hopefully we remember the answers.
That is going to be great. So is this book, The Mighty WMMR.
I got one too.
I bet you do. Erin, congratulations on a fantastic book. Thank you, Erin.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me today.
All right.
Good stuff, Chet. That's right up your alley. You between talking sports, drinking beer, and MMR, that's right up your alley. You got your beer tonight?
I do. Tonight I'm drinking a pineapple wheat ale, Bill. It's called I Love Lamp. Don't ask why, but it's called I Love Lamp. I'll explain it to you later. Hey, again, check out my...
It's like a hat trick for you.
Yeah, kind of.
There you go.
Check out the full conversation with Erin Riley on my Random Chat YouTube channel later this evening, if it's Wednesday when you're watching this, or tomorrow or Friday, whenever you can. You'll get Erin's thoughts on Philly's booming local music scene of the 1980s, why greed has damaged terrestrial radio in recent decades, her tight relationship with John Bon Jovi, and a cool bet she made with John back in the 1980s, her favorite WMMR station IDs, and more than you just heard in the interview I played for you. It was really, really a fun chat with Erin, and the book, The Mighty WMMR, is really a must-have for fans of Philadelphia music radio.
There you go. Good deal.
Yeah.
Hey, Chet, we had great guests tonight of Bob Angelo and Erin Riley. Who's coming to Philly Pressbox Radio next week? We're running out of time already, pal.
Well, Bill, as next Wednesday will be a mere 11 days from the Birds' regular season opener, we're going to bring this guy back to the show. He's going to talk all things Eagles and maybe a little Sixers, too. He's the editor of Bleeding Green Nation, our pal Brandon Lee Gouton. As you know, Bill, BLG is fantastic. We may have a second guest talking baseball also, but that is not yet confirmed. We'll see.
All right. Well, BLG is always great, and he will be all over the Eagles. We'll have rosters set by then, or we should. So we'll know a lot more about what's going on in different positions. So we're looking forward to that. Man, it's time to kick it off. It's September already almost.
Yeah. And don't forget college football this weekend, Bill. There are 8 games on the schedule for week 0, including one from Dublin, Ireland that you can watch Saturday morning, our time. North Carolina against TCU. Bill Belichick, of course, on the sidelines for that one. Bill, sad news. Dolly Parton's death yesterday at the age of 80. Man, what an icon. The queen of country music and just an all-around terrific woman. I don't think anybody can say a bad word about Dolly Parton. Just a great humanitarian, did a lot of things for, getting books to kids. And everybody in the music biz, even if, they're in the rock genre or whatever, looked up to Dolly Parton. So she is gone. Sad to see that. She was 80 years old and just a legend.
Yep, absolutely. No, like you say, nobody can say a bad word about her, and her music was everywhere today. It didn't matter what radio station you put on, it was on. So
yeah, and there were specials last night on both ABC and CBS. NBC has one tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. On a brighter note, Bill, Tuesday was the 50th anniversary of the release of this great self-titled debut album by Boston. Man, I wore this one out. Not a bad song on it. More Than a Feeling, Peace of Mind, Foreplay, Long Time, Rock and Roll Band, Smoke and Hitch a Ride, Something About You, and Let Me Take You Home Tonight. I don't know if you remember, but earlier this year, Bill, I did a segment on the numerous terrific albums released 50 years ago, 1976, and I had the Eagles' Hotel California and Boston's debut album right at the top of the list, my 2 favorites from 1976.
And I think I told you that I attended that concert at the Spectrum in 1976, 77, whenever exactly it was. The album was out. So,
yeah.
How about that?
That was a great one. Love that album.
Yep, it was a good one. And it's stood the test of time because a lot of them songs still get played pretty regular today.
I didn't get to explain to you why Practice was attended by 45,000 people at the Link Tuesday night.
Because they have nothing to do. they wasted their time is what
No.
they did.
It's because they haven't seen these guys on the field together all year.
Wow.
There's only one stinking open to the public practice now. And even though you got to pay $14 or $15 to get in, it goes to the Eagles autism charity. Plus they have other fun stuff going on too, Bill. There are photo opportunities with former
Do you
Eagles
really
players.
Understand like what practice is? You know what
my God. They're not going to watch like when you were coaching and running a practice. They're not going to watch the boring drills. They're going for all the other stuff that comes with it too, Bill. Come on.
Wise
up.
You just don't have a clue. I'm sorry.
Wrap it up. I'm tired.
All right. We've had enough of you. Let's thank tonight's special guests, Bob Angelo and Erin Riley, our sponsors, Curran's Irish Rover, Cabs Philly Tailgates, PPCC 118 Raz Room. For Jim Chet Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll join Philly Pressbox Radio next Wednesday, September already, Chet, September 2nd at 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook, on our Philly Pressbox Radio YouTube channel, and on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans. Let's go Phillies, and heck, why not? Let's go Birds.
That too.
I hope he had